So let's talk about question number three because it rolls right into that topic about building and selling your brand. But to do that, you have to really kind of own your career. So what is needed to own your career? What can people learn from this about how do I control this? How do I own this?
Yeah, you need to act with courage and confidence is the very short answer. But to expand upon that, I have found a lot of people become somewhat resentful and frustrated when their careers kind of stall out and they're watching people around them get promoted and they're like, I'm really good at my job. Why isn't anyone noticing what I'm doing?
Mhm.
But on the other side of the coin, and this ties back to the people pleasing, a lot of times people pleasers, they really want that praise and validation, but they also are afraid that they might come across as braggy or not humble enough if they're sharing the good work that they're doing. And the reality is, if you work in a corporate environment, you have to advocate for yourself.
That's right.
No one is going to come to me and say, Hey, Erica, I've noticed you're doing all this extra work. We're just going to hand you this promotion. Or Tony, I saw you were coming in early and staying late. Let's give you a promotion. It would be great if that's how easy things were, but you and I both know that's not how the world
That's right.
works.
Nope, that's right.
And so we have to get over this idea that sharing the good work that you're doing is embarrassing or that it's going to make other people dislike you. You're going to come off as like a bragger. No, you have to kind of develop a marketing director mindset when it comes to your career. And there are a lot of ways you can do this, even if you're introverted. I'm kind of an ambivert, I would say. So I'm not naturally the person who's like, me, look what I'm doing.
Right.
But a couple of simple things that have worked really well for me in my career is I have a folder in my email inbox, and when I wrap up a project that's gone really well, or maybe I get a nice email from a customer or a coworker, I throw it in that like kudos folder.
Right.
And
Right.
when we do mid-year reviews and end-of-year reviews, share that verbatim feedback, like share the receipts, if you will. And that
Right.
way you don't feel like you're necessarily bragging on yourself. Like, here's the data. This is what went well. This is what they said about it. Another thing that has worked really well for me is doing like an end of week wrap up that I'll send out
Oh
to my
yeah.
boss. It's just a one pager.
Right.
These are the top 5 things I accomplished this week. Here's the one thing that I'm most proud of. This is where I need your support next week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's constantly saying in front of them so they're looped in and aware of what you're working on. If you do one of those every week, you've got 52 reports with like data points in them. It makes your
Right.
life a lot easier with end of year reviews. Um, the other thing I would say though is like don't be afraid to volunteer and get involved. You don't have to stay in your like official job title.
Mm-hmm.
I have found it very rewarding to get involved in like colleague resource networks or employee
Oh yeah.
resource groups. I know we call them different things at every company.
Yeah, that's
Um, but it's really benefited me, A, in that I'm able to network with the people outside of my day-to-day role or department. But probably even more importantly, it's nice to be able to flex a different muscle at work sometimes. I
hmm
think it gives us more appreciation for our role and also helps spark a little bit more creativity. So right now I'm working on our gender balance colleague resource network and getting to talk to other working moms and hear their stories and offer support has been really rewarding and goes right back to our first point on community.
exactly.
Like, that's how you find the people that you can lean on and learn from, more importantly. So, if I were to give anyone just a little bit of advice about kind of owning their journey,
Yeah.
it's first of all, you have to realize that you truly do have to own it.
So
Carve
true.
out a little bit of time. Like, if you don't have time to do those weekly reports, start really small. Put a calendar block like Friday afternoon for 15 minutes or fr
Right.
whatever, like whenever your quiet day is, and see if there's anything in your inbox that you could put into a kudos folder. Go take a look on your company portal and see if someone's looking for a volunteer to step up and help on a committee. Is there a book club you could join? Is there a professional association you could be a part of and join maybe their board? Step up in a volunteer role there. I think the more that you are showing initiative, A, you're signaling that you have leadership potential,
Right.
but B, taking that initiative. all coming back full circle. You're boosting your confidence, you're learning new things, you're meeting new people. It is always going to serve you well, even if you don't see it in the short term. I have found that it always pays off.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. These are so important, and this is why I was so excited about this podcast because when you don't own your own career, and we talked about this in a different podcast with somebody else, which I can't. It was last year, and we talked about people sometimes in today's world they sometimes don't know how to own their own career and they do get jealous of other people and jealousy in the workplace it's a big deal
It
and
is.
how they try to own their own career that we've seen examples of is by making other people look bad so that
Mhm.
so that the boss will look at them instead of
That
somebody else
never works out, does it?
and it never works out. And by the way, that's not the recommended way to own your own career, right? Being able to own your own career means to come up with these methods that you shared that help you share what you're doing and help you get involved. And that's one thing I love about the being in the community and stuff like that when you care about that and you own your own career, sometimes, and I love the kudos folder, I keep one myself.
Do you?
But sometimes you're not looking to get recognition, right? And when it comes along, that's great and everything, and you're humble about it, but you're like, I'm just going to keep doing what I do, right? And so, owning your career is also being that consistent person and being, you're always where you need to be at the right time. You need to
Yep.
be there. And so this gives, I think, a good framework to own your own career and then has the side benefits of developing your confidence,
Yeah.
learning new people, right? And that's where the fun begins.
Yeah, I think the final thing I would say there is you need to know where you want to go too. I think too many people are just wanting a promotion, but they don't even really know what they're passionate about. If
Right.
their passions align with their skills, are there skill gaps that need to be developed? So I would
Mhm.
say sit down and map out where you want to be in 3, 5, 10 years, and then be
Right.
really honest about like maybe some of your skill gaps and figure out a concrete plan to bridge those gaps.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a plan, you're just winging it and
Yeah.
hoping for the best.
That's right. That's right. And we've seen this sometimes before where people are not really looking for what's the next thing in a promotion. They're really just looking for more money, right? And so when
True.
I think when you sit down and talk about that, and being realistic, if you say, okay, here's the thing. I don't really like being a podcaster, which, is a lie for me. Anyway,
Right.
I don't really like being a podcaster. I just want more money. Then come up with a plan to help you achieve more money without worrying about going into a career that you're not interested in. But like you said, sit down and understand what that is. And whatever that is, then you can develop a plan to move in that direction. And I think that that's a wonderful
And
advice.
and speak your truth. So often when we are resentful about things, "Ah, I can't believe my boss doesn't know that I deserve a raise or that I want a promotion." Did you ever tell them?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Unspoken boundaries cause so much resentment in all areas of our life.
That's
So,
right.
like, that would be my number one tip is don't assume that people know what you
Know
want.
what you want. That's right. I love it. Erica, oh my God. Every time I talk to you, I have such a good time. And I feel like I've known you for a long time.
Same.
So maybe I knew you before when you were here. Um,
I feel like maybe our paths have crossed.
a few times, a few times.
Yeah.
So,
But it is always a pleasure to chat with you. I am hoping that I'll see you this fall in person.
well, let me think about it. Okay, I guess I'll go to Service Management World.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
gonna share a promo code for your audience, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. No, we got a pretty good thing going on with our panel. And so we're liking that, but most importantly, that the audience is giving us feedback. So
Yeah.
I think it's great, and I think these topics, the community and people pleasing and the owning your career, all how they tie together, which we did. Most people would say these are all separate topics, but how we, and this is why I wanted this podcast, how we tie them together, they completely relate. And so I really want to thank you for joining me here on your own time on a Saturday and just, you know,
You.
being able to talk through this and help our audience learn.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Such a fun
Excellent.
chat.
Excellent. Excellent. All right.